Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. We're officially into, that's a 2025 problem.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we probably
if we were a real
company,
I was going to say, it would have been September.
Easily.
We're not a real company, though.
Clearly not.
I got an email yesterday about I got to read you this, but yeah, you continue with our Copiers Plus. And
all I was saying is that I think we've officially hit it's a 2025 problem, but you want to make sure you're saving money in 2025. So make that one last call, make that one last business call before the year is out to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. What did you get beyond the Uline catalog, which we have to go through before Christmas?
Oh man,
we got to gift ourselves some utility basket.
I'm gonna keep my pants on for that
from the Uline catalog.
If this wasn't from Samantha, our wonderful Sherpa, who helps us with our business initiatives, I would have thought this was a phishing email.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Joe. We need to file a BOI for OG Media for 2024.
I have no idea what that means.
This is a new form that the government is requiring annually to track the beneficial owner for each business. All owners with 25% or more ownership are required to be listed. You will just need to file the report listing yourself as the company representative filer, as well as 50% owner, and then list Joe as 50% owner. This is the link to the file. .gov. So I was like, okay, it's probably real. Here's the best part. Although as we've learned, I think I know what the real goal here is. Ready?
Yeah.
Super easy, and there's no fee. Except,
okay.
This is now me interjecting. There is no fee. Pause for me to editorialize. You will need your driver's license and Joe's to prove who you are, and a copy of it needs to be uploaded into that form. Please let me know when this is complete so I can note in your file. Sam Leidig, Senior Accountant, Sherpa Collaborative.
Okay.
SherpaCollab.com if you need any business help like we do.
So you need my driver's license. That's what I'm finding out.
Well, are they just mining our data?
Okay.
Right?
Clearly,
like, why are we not in the data mining business? Like, we're the only fools who actually have data that could be useful that we don't make money off of.
Well,
right?
I think there's a tacit trust between us and our listeners that we're not going to be training
data miners.
We're not data mining, nor are we using our YouTube comments or the OG Sports phone calls to train some sort of large language model to do a complete AI generated sports podcast, which is coming, by the way.
Fair. Can we?
No, that's coming. I'm being absolutely serious when I say that. That is coming.
Yeah. Can we at least find the guy whose baby was crying that I got the onesie for?
Oh, I got his. I have his address.
Okay.
Yeah, I have his address.
Thank you.
Yeah, I texted. But look, we were talking about the end of the year. Don't we have to spend? Don't we have to spend money?
Hey, girl.
Don't we have to spend money before the tax year's out?
We don't. No.
We're good. We don't.
We're good now. We actually pay for some social media help and of course Sherpa.
Okay.
So we have more expenses than we had last year.
All I'm saying, they got next day delivery on the Uline.
Is it really?
Yeah, as long as you order by 6 o'clock.
Oh, it's impressive.
They got. Oh, dude.
Hey, girl.
Center pull paper towel dispensers.
I thought that was toilet paper.
Some of that is toilet paper.
You're classic.
Some of that is toilet paper. Do we
power through?
Do we
crew?
We
should put some. That's what we need to talk to Doug about. Is getting a power through crew logo, OG logo
on toilet paper.
On the bathrooms at Lenovo.
Yes. Do we need a
Adam can have the breeze through crew.
Yeah,
we would have the power through crew.
Do you need corrosion resistant pallet trucks?
Probably not.
So who says no? Why did Uline send? Oh, dude, they have chairs. Dude, chairs.
How expensive do you think it is to print that? By the way,
check out that workstation.
Could use one of those actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably could use one of those. Actually, we do need chairs because your back's always shot.
No, I like this chair.
You like that chair?
Yeah, This is the only chair I like
because you can get can get stackable chairs. We can get these. No,
you said chairs. We got to upgrade our third chair.
We do. I agree. We do need to do that. Leather bucket chairs only. Man, $290 for this leather bucket chair. How when you're a guest of the OG, wouldn't you like to sit in that thing?
Could you imagine having that kind of money to just urinate away?
You have to.
That Uline has.
Yes.
To send out that.
How much? No.
Biblical catalog.
Shit. This deluxe arms. Look at that. Look, that's like a gamer chair. This is dangerous.
What's the price?
That is, we can get two or more for $305 a piece. That's actually not that bad.
$610 for 2 chairs.
That's actually not that bad.
I like that green mesh more than I like.
Dude, that green mesh is $215.
Are we in holiday protocols? Did we officially reach?
Kinda. We're almost there. Well, as I joked to you before. Oh shit! Forced air heater. Look at that thing. You get those. You get that on the sideline of a football game.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, man. This is what's that? Again, why do we get this kind of line?
I'm telling you, it just must be.
Does Uline think do we need utility jugs as a podcast company? What's this?
Is that for drinking or peeing?
Maybe both. We don't have a drug testing policy here, so you don't have to worry about chugging a bunch of water just to clear protocol, right?
Speaking of tangents, did you see the gold that I found at the convenience store underneath James's apartment at ECU?
Yes, all the drug tests. Yes.
No,
I saw
there's a pregnancy test. I have so many questions.
Yeah.
There's a pregnancy test.
Okay.
Get it. Right?
Yeah.
There's a drug test.
Yeah.
Get it.
Get that.
There's an ovulation test.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason why you would do the ovulation
As a Catholic, I understand these things.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you really think college students are sitting there being like,
oh yeah,
here's the only week I can potentially get pregnant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my ovulation. Not to be graphic here on the beginning of this program, but
we're 6 minutes in.
I'm fairly certain you, as a woman, you know when you're ovulating.
No. You can, no, dude, trust me. You can get the apps that will track it and things like that. Although there is some questionable reasons there are some good reasons to delete those apps because of the data mining.
There's that mining going again.
But no, it's not, if you're trying to get pregnant, you want to know, it's not so much
trying.
If you're trying to get pregnant, you really want to know when you're ovulating.
Yeah, no, there's a science to that.
Yes, absolutely.
But I'm confused as to why the college students in the drugs with the drug testing and the pregnancy testing.
Joe, what do I tell you all the time?
Yeah, you're right.
What do I tell you all the time?
You're right. There's something out there for everyone.
It's not that there's something out there for everybody. Man, you don't know what's going on. You don't know, man. And sometimes you don't need to know.
You know what? I'm just happy. They can go downstairs. It's right there for them. There. They also have Jello shots.
They either want to know if they can raw dog or if they want to get pregnant. One of the two.
They also have Jello shots.
Yeah.
And a frozen slushy shot.
That is such a college C-store. Oh my God. That is such a college C-store.
I'm moving into
what? All the things I want. Ovulation kits, Jello shots, drug tests.
I actually got the boss a really nice
ovulation test.
No, for her jewelry. They had like pottery.
Oh, nice.
So she was like, "Hey, I want this," and I'm like
for
sold.
Rings and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she's like, right now, I just put stuff on the on the counter on the desk. Not a desktop, nightstand.
Remind me, you're not Catholic, right?
I grew up Catholic. I was raised Catholic.
Did you have a Catholic wedding?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have to go to the class?
Yes.
Okay. So they sat you through the natural family planning seminar. Did you go through? I did this at St. Michael's Church. Okay. This is back in the day. And they went through they brought a couple, this true story. They bring this couple up to talk about natural family planning. All right.
Yeah.
As in, look, you track your ovulation, you do this, you do that. And that way you can plan every kid out. And, it's Catholic birth control, essentially, right?
Yeah.
How many kids do you think this woman had?
No less than 6.
7. All planned? Bullshit. They were not all planned. Come on now. Kelly and I looked at each other like, uh-huh. And they were going, he brings me breakfast in bed, and we track this, we track that. I'm like,
he's bringing you more than breakfast.
Yeah. He's bringing more than the sausage links, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait.
So anyway.
I know you hate doing this, but wait.
What?
It has to be done.
What?
I need my glasses.
What are you looking for?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
What are you looking for?
I gotta find it.
Do you need to hit pause?
No, I'll find it. I promise. Stop.
Do you actually want to start the show?
Yeah, no, this is it. This is like the police thing I was telling you about.
Oh.
Don't need a promo code.
Hey, home field. Home field. What up, guys?
For all those kits, if you need to run downstairs to the convenience store, there's no better way than to be comfortable in your home field hoodies and your home field apparel. You don't even need the promo code right now because they have a great sale going on right now. There's a new promo code, you told me.
Yeah, save our promo code. Do not use OG24 just yet. If you want to save a ton of money, they got a site-wide Black Friday sale going on right now. So what's that promo code? It is BFCM24. Again, that's BFCM24. 30% off everything on the website right now.
That's
everything.
awesome.
So go
Great
take advantage of that.
I do want that Duke pullover.
It's nice.
The V-neck pullover. That's in my 90s sweet spot.
So again, go to homefieldapparel.com. Do you want to go? You know what? I think we should just go ahead and transition with an OG Sports phone call to get things going.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
This was a text message at 2:21 in the morning.
Whoa.
From a 910 number. I will wake someone up in this house if I call, but just wanted to say that trusting both the Canes and the Heels to come roaring back from down big made for a good night as both a fan as a degenerate gambler. Also, Drake Powell, that dude, biggest Bill Rafferty voice, onions, from a freshman at UNC since ... Hit a real key three with about a minute 15 to go in that game. But one other sports phone call here from our guy Paul, who's very, very hype about the Tar Heels last night in the Maui Invitational, overcoming an incredible deficit to Dayton. Anthony Grant. I forgot Anthony Grant was at Dayton.
Forgot about him.
He's a good coach, but totally forgot about him.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Dear God, it's 2 a.m. Carolina basketball played their worst first half of the season. They were down 21 with 17 minutes to go in the second half. And somehow, some way, they have won the game 92-90. Oh my God. Why were they down 21 to an unranked Dayton? You know what? I could fucking figure that out later in the morning. I'm exhausted. Go Heels.
Yeah, I'm with Paul. You can figure that stuff out later.
Paul, this is not a 900 number, sir. You can't be pleasuring yourself while you call us.
He was a little excited.
He was out of breath.
He was a little excited.
It was early in the morning.
Maybe he
couldn't sleep.
Maybe he was looking at the Uline catalog as well. Maybe he was looking.
Maybe he got the Uline.
Maybe he was looking at the hard hats that you could buy in the Uline catalog.
Look at those chairs.
Oh man,
hey, baby.
Look at that mesh. Did you see that standing desk? Damn, girl. That looks like that's a good looking standing desk. So yeah, last night the Tar Heels were down big. They have a furious comeback. Again, I did not stay up for this game. I watched the condensed thing this morning. Mainly, I watched the last 10 minutes of the game to see how everybody went back and forth. That was big shot after big shot. And of course, Seth Trimble, Drake Powell made a big three, obviously. But we're once again following this pattern where, hey, RJ, can you bail us out? Hey, man, can you bail us out? I know Ken Pom listed Seth Trimble as the MVP of the night, but we don't have to follow the Ken Pom MVP formula.
Tell us who drives the bus. Tell us who drives the bus.
RJ Davis drives this damn bus. Not to step on your bit here, Joe, but RJ Davis drives this damn bus. And this is just more of the same out of him where he can go and completely change the nature of a game.
Super impressive that they scored 92 points in a basketball game and had basically two players score 57.
Yeah.
Right? The only other person in double digits was Cadeau with 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a kind of sort of amazing how they did that last night. Obviously, they did not play any defense in the first half. And then the
not
second
only did they
half,
not play defense last night, but they also, again, if they're not clicking offensively, things can get really scary real quick. Same thing happened against Kansas.
But yeah, when he said worst half of the season, I'm like,
But here's the reason why you say worst, because I thought about this too driving in. You can understand Kansas. It's
also there.
Fog. It's there. Kansas is the best team in the country, and they fought back. Got it, right? This was a little bit different against an unranked Dayton team. That's a good team. Don't get me wrong. It's a pretty decent team.
I try to tell you all the time.
But
it's not that big of a difference.
But this is, I don't know, man. You and I were talking about this before we got going. Like, Carolina's season's going to be very predictable.
The end of their seasons are going to be very predictable. They'll probably have a half like that in the NCAA tournament, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Poor college basketball.
Okay.
I know that the Maui Invitational is like a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And they had some good game. We'll get to the Dan Hurley business a little bit later on in Lightning Round. I mean, today's whole show is Lightning Round. What if we made the whole podcast Lightning Round?
We could do that.
That's kind of what we are.
But I'm not trying to be like, oh man, let's kill every tradition in college basketball for the sake of playing games at a home and home. But it's like you had three unbelievable games. The Auburn one ended late. The Carolina one might as well have been, in Finland.
Right. Why are
Right?
these games being played
So
at 11 o'clock?
You got
at
a
night?
Memphis UConn game that I think was like a matinee
That was a matinee, yeah.
that turned into like this blood feud between the Tigers and the Huskies, with the Tigers winning 99-97, 2-point game. Auburn down a bazillion in the first half to Iowa State. I had my Iowa State November champions tweet already. Give the Big 12 every bid, because Iowa State, here we go again.
Yeah.
They're going to go home and play Tarleton State for the rest of the year, because remember, Iowa State has solved the net. They're the ones.
Yeah.
And then Auburn storms back, wins that game by 2 points in dramatic fashion. And then you have a Carolina game where Carolina storms back, and it's like, why does college basketball do this to themselves? Like, I'm sure everyone who's there is having a blast. Shout out to RL Bonham. I saw RL is out there. Like, I'm sure everyone who's there is like, this is the greatest shit of all time. Like, oh man, we should do this all the time. Blah, 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 blah.
Roy was having a good time until somebody ran into him.
Sure.
He bounced back up though.
But
Good
it's
for
like,
Roy. I was worried for him.
But it's like, why does college basketball do this?
I don't
It
know.
feels like, on a Monday, no less, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like, give me this on Wednesday.
It's
Give me
feast.
this on Friday when there's nothing going on.
It's feast week, Joe. Feast week has to start some way, somehow.
I'm going to an ECU Navy football game on Friday. Like, give me this on Friday.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't paying attention to the Harbaugh Bowl last night. I was actually watching the Canes last.
Same.
You know?
I flipped
So it's
over.
kinda like-
I flipped over to the Harbaugh Bowl.
I just
after
feel
the
like
Canes game.
college basketball can't help themselves. I know someone's going to see this. Like, you don't know anything about college basketball if you don't think the Maui Invitational is a great event. It's like, I don't disagree with you, but I would like to be able to watch it,
Right.
and not like in zombie vampire form.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. No, look, I made a business decision, right? Like if it was younger me, yeah, I probably would have stayed up and watched that game. But
No.
it ain't younger me, man.
I was
Like,
going to say, if it was
I'll-
Carolina Auburn, like just as I did for Duke Arizona,
Yeah.
I watched that game. But like Dayton Carolina was not getting it done for me.
No. But back to the point. North Carolina's issue right now. I get that there is a defensive issue component to them right now. That is a problem. Now, when you go look
Even though this is the most athletic version of a team that Ubert's had.
yes, and that's going to be the ongoing storyline for me. Can North Carolina outscore their opponents? Sure, they can. But what is the key difference between really good North Carolina teams and the great North Carolina teams? There is like a Mendoza line, if you will, for their defensive metrics for Carolina to be taken seriously as a national title contender. And right now, what I've seen from the early going, yeah, man, RJ, go get us a bucket. Seth Trimble, great development. Go get us a bucket. You see the little hints of guys stepping up as the season goes on. Like Drake Powell's going to be a hell of a baller once we get to the end of January. I get all that stuff. But there's a defensive metric that North Carolina has to hit. And I don't know if they're capable of hitting it, because I haven't seen it consistently enough out of the Tar Heels. So I know you're giving me crap last week about NC State and defense and whatnot. I think the measurables, or what we expect out of these two programs, are completely different right now. I think NC State, because of the nature of the transfer portal and coming off last year and losing some key pieces, I think Kevin Keatts is doing a good job of cycling through guys to see what he has, build depth. And then we had an OG Sports Phone listener point out that this is probably the kind of team that Kevin Keatts has wanted for a long time at NC State.
Yes,
It'll
as he said with Jay Wright this week on the CBS Sports Special.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh,
About
okay.
how when he was at Hargrave, he had 13 Division I players. And,
Oh, okay, interesting.
that's the reason why he started to press and do all those things, because he had to play everybody.
Right. So that makes a lot of sense. But for North Carolina, with the key pieces that you brought back, we have one key, like, okay, how is this going to shake out? That's the 5. How do you replace Armando Bacot? But there's the other yellow flag, if you will, for North Carolina, and that is a consistency on defense that I'm sure Hubert Davis. I didn't watch the press conference from Hubert last night because, sorry, I'm too sleepy. But my guess is that's going to be a recurring theme as the season goes on. So my question for you then is to get back to how predictable North Carolina's year is going to go. Like, you already know how it's going to end. You've seen the end.
No, I know how it ends.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
How does it
they're
end?
going to have a problematic half in the NCAA tournament.
Okay. Can they?
That's
Can they
kind
over,
of what happened last year against Alabama.
Can they overcome it?
I probably not.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
Okay.
Because I don't know. This is a super athletic team.
Mhm.
To your point, those freshmen are the ones that are going to have to be. They're the ones who are going to have to find their sea legs and really support Davis the way that Tremble is right now. Obviously, Withers didn't have a great game last night, but
Mhm.
I think we've seen more and more from him to suggest that he is capable of helping them out. They're a fun team, though. Like, how do you not
Yeah.
like them? Like,
Yeah.
between the Kansas game and this game, like, Yeah, I think we had the call from Paul last week about, hey, yeah, we're falling out of the bet, scoring 90 points again. Like, yeah, that there's an element to that. That's, the year of the struggle, the great struggle of the RJ and Caleb love, whatever really happened there, who knows? But that great struggle was they were so bogged down in the half court.
Yeah.
That they didn't even look like Carolina basketball. Getting Cadeau last year helped them get back to more of that. And now just seeing them play at a faster pace, it's like, oh, there's something very comforting to that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com. Green cleaning solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
By the way, you can buy a single cleaning as a Christmas gift.
Oh, nice.
From Inovana. So go check them out at inovana.com. OGTriangleMedia.com is our premium subscription website. Go to OG. You can be an OG fan subscriber for as little as $13 a month. We've got the mailbag episode coming out later this week. Got a little bit of a short week because of Thanksgiving. So we got yesterday's show today. We'll do a mailbag tomorrow. And then we'll be back on Saturday for an After Dark following the NC State North Carolina game. Also want to let you know, if you go to the Rialto's website, January 31st, Bomani Jones is coming back to the Triangle. It's the basketball Jones. We're going to be there. Bomani's going to be there. We're going to have Tyler Hansbrough, Marcus Ginyard, and friends. We're still working on some of the guest list action. We're trying to get a certain guy out of California to come through. We'll see if that actually works out. Get his perspective on that tough neighborhood, if you will. Speaking of neighborhoods, there's a breeze through probably around your neighborhood. All you got to do is go to breezethrough.com to check out their website. And if you're headed to the arena any time this week, go to the breeze through right by. Or if you know what, you need a last minute case of beer, go to the beer cave as you're off to deal with your family. All right, just saying, go to a breeze through. Speaking of dealing with the family, maybe you're not a beer person. Maybe that's just not what you're about. Maybe you need something a little stronger. Nature's Relief. I'm picking up my supply at Nature's Relief before I head up to Maryland. You can do the same thing too. Go to naturesreliefhempstore.com. That's RELEAF hempstore.com. Giglio's rocking his row back right now. Maybe you want to be in something super, super comfortable while you rot on the couch watching football following your gigantic Thanksgiving meal. Do it in comfort. Do it in Rowback. Go to rowback.com, RHOBACK.com. Don't use the promo code OG20 right now.
No, they have a sale going on right now. So save it for when the State and Carolina stuff comes out in the spring.
And let's say, look, you get together with family. Sometimes things happen, arguments ensue. I don't know, maybe there's a fight. I have no idea.
Turkey fryers explode.
Maybe you need some legal representation. Wouldn't be the first time somebody sues a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, contact Whitaker and Hamer, WH.lawyer. Say, hey, my crazy uncle came through and I got a legal issue right now. WH.lawyer. They can handle that for you. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline.
What's the headline?
It is
newspapers. You got newspapers on the brain.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. And by the way, speaking of Easter, you could put a giant bow on a car for Christmas. I'm just saying.
You can.
So just go buy a car from Easter.
I was going to say, speaking of headlines, congratulations to both of you. Our friends in Winston-Salem.
Ah, yes.
Luke, one of the finalists for the Sports Writer of the Year. Joe Ovies, captain of OG Media, one of the finalists for Sportscaster, is it technically?
I think it's Sportscaster of the Year. Not Sports Podcaster of the Year. Sportscaster.
No. You're with the TV and and Adam Gold. We've
come a long way. We've come a long way where podcasts will even be recognized for these things. So here we are.
I thought you were recognized for your play-by-play work. So
see, it was really the After Dark after the Marquette and
basically navigating while drunk. An obliterated Giglio and Brinson not even knowing where he was. That's what's up. All right, if I get that talking about goalies is like talking about quarterbacks in the NFL, and everybody's in freak out mode because Freddie Anderson's out for a couple of months because of his lingering knee issue, and Kochetkov, we all saw it. We don't have to play around with it. He's in concussion protocol. We all saw what happened in Columbus, and we don't know how long he's going to be out. So there's this understandable oh crap, we are screwed. And Spencer Martin goes out there and there's a lot of goals on little shots. And again, I am just but a hockey novice, but I know the Canes are better defensively than what we saw last night. And I don't know how much of that I'm going to put on Spencer Martin. And I don't change my opinion about riding this thing out with the goalies until Kochetkov comes out. I don't know about your opinions on this, but I mean, last night, it wasn't about the goalie. It was about the defense.
No, and the really some poor decisions with the puck and guys kind of flying the zone. Here's where I get to on that. I think what we've seen from this group, so let's go back to sort of the 17-18 season, maybe even 16-17.
Okay.
This is a group that obviously from 18-19 on has been very sound in its own zone, typically, and gets the puck out and gets it moving and all that. When they don't, the times that they have problems are when they are playing in front of a goalie that they don't trust. And they can say all the right things, but we see it manifested in their performance. When Ranta lost his mojo, the defense in front of him absolutely collapsed. And I don't know whether that's a function of the sort of pace that they have to play at. And if you're second guessing yourself, everything falls apart, or guys are trying to do too much. It's not like, and look, they loved Antti Ranta. This is not like, oh, we don't like this guy. But it almost goes back to like, there's this sort of cultural scarring from the Eddie Lack, Scott Darling era, where when you suddenly can't trust the guy behind you, everything falls apart. Now there's like 2 guys left from that era, but it becomes sort of in your DNA at that point. So I think we saw a little of that in the first and second periods last night. A little helter-skelter. Do we really trust this guy? We're up against it. And then obviously the game changed. Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho kind of dragged them into the game late in the second and into the third period.
Real quick. Why wouldn't you trust Spencer Martin when the last time I saw him play was in the Ottawa game, where it was the Ottawa game, right? Where he was pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
Considered.
Yeah. It's more a function of, we don't have Freddie. We don't have Kochetkov. This guy, we're down to this guy. It's a natural sort of emotion to have. Like, look, nothing against Spencer Martin, who actually, other than the 4th goal, played really well last night.
Sure.
He's not Frederik Andersen. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the history with this team and these players that Freddie does. He's not Pyotr Kochetkov. He doesn't have the history with these teams. And look, players aren't dumb. They know who's really good and who's good. They know that Spencer Martin, look, Spencer Martin is not as good a goalie as Frederik Andersen. That is not an insult. That is, this is a make or miss game. Mm-hmm. Pro sports is a meritocracy. That is a fact. That is a fact, like the firmness of the earth. Can he play really well on certain nights? Absolutely. Are the Hurricanes going to be okay for the next couple of weeks or month with him in net? Probably. So it's not, this is not like some sort of rant against Spencer Martin. There's a reason they kept him over the summer, because they thought he was a good fit as the third goalie. And if it all hit the fan and they were in this position, which of course they are every November, that they would be okay with Spencer Martin. And here we are. So but I think there's something in the DNA of this team that when they get that little bit of a question mark in the back of their head about the goaltending, everything seems to sort of fall apart. That said, first goal is a terrible turnover by Jack Roslovic after an uncalled high stick. Second goal, you don't want to give up a shot from that distance, but Martin's way out on the top of his crease, and the guy beats him off the post and in. Sometimes you got to tip your cap. And then the third goal, another turnover. The 4th goal, I think, is the one he'd want back. He's pretty well sighted. It's from distance. It's a good shot, but it kind of goes through him as opposed to over him or around him. And he makes 2 huge saves in the third period with the game in the balance. Flashes the pad on Hintz and then stands up Matt Duchene in tight. Those are really good chances that the Stars sort of had when they were coming, trying to answer and get back on top. So, I think the Hurricanes, absolutely, I'm with you. Do you go out and make a panic move? No. Now, are there a couple guys that you can upgrade at the position without hurting yourself? If there's a point where Connor Ingram comes back and Utah's willing to move Karel Vedmelka, who's looked like Patrick Waugh against the Hurricanes over the last couple of years, that's a guy who's on an expiring contract. Maybe you want him on with maybe he becomes your third guy. I think when you have Freddie Andersen as your number one, you need a 1A, a 2A, and a 3A.
Yeah.
There's no tandem with Frederik Andersen. So, you would give up a little cap space there, but you would add a guy who maybe you bring back next year if you re-sign. It gives you some flexibility there. That's not on the table right now. It may be at some point. So they've got to figure something out. They can play Martin Wednesday against the Rangers. They can play Martin Friday against the Panthers. 4 games in 6 days is going to be too much. They've got to come up with a solution for Saturday at the Panthers. It's not going to be Yanniv Peretz, who's faced, like, I think 36 shots above the ECHL level.
Yeah.
He's not ready for that smoke.
And then who's the Ruslan guy?
The easy solution is to sign Dustin Tokarski, NHL journeyman veteran who's in Chicago on an AHL deal. Sign him, play him Saturday. If he goes on a heater and plays great, terrific. If he gets lit up, no autopsy, no foul, we move on to the next one. The Hurricanes have put themselves in a position where they can dump a couple. Quite frankly, this isn't like 2018, November 2018, where every point felt like it was going to matter in May or April. They're not in that situation anymore. They've got a little leeway. They're on like a 100 and whatever point pace. If they lose a couple games around Thanksgiving and Christmas because they ran out of goalies, despite having 3, they'll live. So yeah, I'm with you. I think you just kind of muddle through. You take your lumps. You bring in Tokarski. I don't think it's probably the best thing, and I'm not even try to pronounce his name, to bring in the young Russian and put him in that position. But
it's like Kasayev, I think. Ruslan Kasayev?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to mess with that one. But Tokarski's played a lot in the league. He's had good games. He's a guy, I think he's played 40, 50, 60 NHL games. He's been on a lot of teams. Look,
Nedeljkovic is right there, Luke. Think of all the jerseys that'll come out of the closet.
You already know their opinion of him.
I know.
You already know where that opinion
I
goes.
General
manager is the one who has
James Reimer. James Reimer. You could have him right now. That's the thing. When you look at the options that are out there for like an emergency move, you're not going to pick up James Reimer's contract for the rest of the year. You don't want either of the guys in San Jose. Like you're looking at Vitek Vanacek or Mackenzie Blackwood. If Peter Mrazek are on the last year of his deal and making less than the 4.5 or whatever it is he makes, maybe you bring back Peter Mrazek because that he can give you 10 games.
Sure.
Mrazek,
but that's just not realistic with his contract situation. So that said, look, when you look at last night's game,
person.
What's that?
I said, you remember when it was Curtis McElhenney and they were like, he was like the calm one. And Mrazek was, the fire. It was the fire and ice, the wolf and whatever they called, Mrazek. You can't have 2 goalies like Mrazek and Kachikov.
Ride that lightning,
They're
man.
the same.
Ride that lightning.
Wackadoo. One's just a little bit older than the other. Serious question, though. And I know how stupid this sounds because the guy was dealing with the heart issue last year, right? Blood vessel.
Blood clotting
issue last year. I almost feel like the knee and the surgery is more cut and dried in terms of what is your actual best case scenario for Freddie Andersen at this point? That he's back in March? Like, that's why I would just say to the 2 of you, I think you're pragmatically saying the right thing. And part of this is my favorite, college footballism out there. Well, who are you going to get? Right.
Well, I mean, there are cap considerations. I mean, what, Luke, remind me, it's like 1.5 million that they're essentially playing with right now.
Yeah, a little more than that, but it's.
But I'm saying if you shelve Freddie and say it's over, don't you get his cap space if you put him on whatever?
Yeah, I mean they did some maneuvering at the start of the year. That was why Jackson Blake was sent down in a paper transaction to maximize. I mean, I think they managed to capture like all but 37. I can't remember the number is. It was like $37.18 of their potential cap relief. I'd have to go look that up.
Working under the premise that maybe you're not going to have Freddie for the rest of the year.
Sure.
Like if it's 3 months, we know Freddie is not a fast healer. We know Freddie is not someone who plays at a less than 100%.
Right.
Right. Freddie's like, Diva Central. You want to talk about quarterbacks? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not a serious injury. What I'm saying is like this is a guy is not going to play at a less than 100%.
Yeah,
right.
On his scale.
Here's the flip side.
I'm saying like, why not make a move knowing that you can't just have Kachikov the whole time?
Which, by the way, real quick, Luke, the thing about Freddie, this is a known thing now with Freddie. Okay, so when people bring all this kind of stuff up, the Canes know this too.
Yeah, that's why Spencer Martin is here.
Right. And they decided they were cool with
And
with Freddie doing that. So anyway.
And going back to the blood clotting thing last year, the thing with Freddie is it the worst thing in the world for him to take 2 or 3 months off in the middle of the season and come back fresh because he's going to be your best goalie potentially in April and May? I don't have a problem with that. I don't think you can say to Freddie, take November and December off, work your way back in January without an injury. But look, his knees have been bothering him for years.
Yeah.
Like if he wants to keep playing in HL, he's going to need more surgeries. You're basically just, putting new tread on the same old bald tire at this point when it comes to his knees.
Right.
That's just a reality. And he's going to get hurt. If by missing this part of the season, again, he's in better shape in April and May, then so be it. Now, I wrote this in my column today, and it's going to bug me forever. I still think the Hurricanes made a gargantuan mistake by playing him in Game 6 against the Rangers instead of Kochetkov.
Okay, so that's where I was going with this.
Okay.
My point is, don't we already have the answer to the question you asked?
But this gets me back to what is the best case scenario with Freddie? So I think you do make a move.
Yeah. Okay. I see where you're getting at this, because that would be my question about, like, when he comes, is it good for the Canes to have him ready to go in that time? Well, we already got that answer last year, right?
Well, no, I think he was fine up until he played 11 games in a row, and they wouldn't go to the bullpen the way they had all season.
Yeah.
To me, that was the issue. The issue was, this guy can't play a bunch of consecutive games.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Kochetkov in the bullpen for that reason. And you've had success in the playoffs going back and forth between Anderson and Ranta, or Anderson and Ranta and Kochetkov. Why are you starting this guy over and over again? It's eventually going to break. And that's sort of what happened. I'm not going to put it all on Freddie. Obviously, the Hurricanes didn't play well enough, and the Rangers have their number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And Rod made that decision.
Rod made that decision.
It's okay to tell, it's okay to point out that was Rod's decision. He could have gone to the bullpen.
And my feeling was, you're trying to come back. Rod and I, God, this is such ancient history already. Rod and I had this conversation between games 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And my argument was, ended up being a very long conversation. My argument was, your job as coach is not to try to win game 5 or game 6. And he's like, we got to win the next game. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. To me, your players have to think that way. But as a coach, you need to be thinking, how do I put my players in a position to win the next 4 games?
Mm-hmm.
If we can throw it all in the fire and win game 4, it doesn't do us any good if we can't put ourselves in a position. And look, that, like, Rod has that player's mentality. I'm not going to do anything in game 6 to think about game 7. And my argument was, you have to give yourself a chance, especially when you've got it to 3-2. How do we win 2 more games? And to me, the answer was play Kochetkov in game 6. If he plays great, you come back with him in game 7. If not, if you win and you're not thrilled with his game, you've got a rested Freddie. But Freddie was clearly wearing down. He was out of gas. He hadn't played that many games in like 3 years in a row. And so when you talk about the goalie situation now, yes, they're in another goaltending crisis. It helps when you score 6 goals. Doesn't really matter who's in net. But I don't think there's anything that this team hasn't been through before going on here. And the answer is, Freddie's usually ready by the end of the year. There's no reason at this point to expect that he's not. As Joe pointed out, he will take as much time as he needs to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the only issue here, the only wrinkle here that's unprecedented or new or unexpected is Pyotr Kochetkov throwing his head into Sean Walker's path for no apparent reason. Like, you can't have that.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think Freddie is fragile. He's very talented. He's fragile. He needs time off. He's not going to play 40 games. I think what we're learning with Kochetkov is he's not going to be able to play 40 games either. He's going to get suspended. He's going to get himself hurt. He's going to go for a poke check and get his, someone's going to step on his arm.
Yeah.
He's just not that super reliable guy who's going to play 60, 65 games. So I think going forward in the post-Freddie era, you're almost going to have to look at Kochetkov the same way you look at Freddie. But Rod's default is to 1 and 1A anyway.
Yeah.
It's probably good in this situation. You're, given the guys they have. But I think going forward, like when you look at who do you play with Kochetkov in the future? I think you're still going to be looking at sort of a, how do we fit 3 goalies on the roster? You're going to have to go get a guy who's a potential starter to play with them at this point in his career. And this may change. He certainly has plenty of time to prove himself. I don't think you can count on Peter Kochetkov to be an every night guy until he proves otherwise, which he may very well at some point.
Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer. We appreciate the time as always. And I don't mind rehashing those conversations because I think they inform how the rest of the season is going to go with the goalies. I mean, I think how the season really does inform how we have to approach a Canes team that we all understand is a playoff team. Now it's a question of, all right, once you get there, what have been the lessons learned? Can, Nate just, you were bringing up, let's score some goals, and that's sometimes how the cookie crumbles. I mean, hell, how many times is Marty Nate just going to try to feed? Who is he trying to feed
Aho.
He was trying to feed Aho and it goes off the freaking skate of a defender.
And the blade of the goalie's stick. I mean, it was
come on,
triple
man.
bouncer.
Hockey is a stupid freaking game, man. It's a stupid game. Sometimes it works in your favor. All right, man.
I'll give you this one. Just I know we're getting out here real quick. How about the fact that the guy who set up the first goal and scored the third goal is the guy the Hurricanes thought they signed in free agency in 2022?
Yeah.
Mason Marchment. Like that. It's a small world, man. Weird stuff happens. So, all right. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Luke, real quick before you go.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm
not going to walk out of here with a frown.
And we'll wait on to get in next week.
You guys don't like to smile. Poor Chuck.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm not even going to bother looking at the Carolina Hurricanes futures right now. Just focus on shots on goal. That's what you need to do.
Always.
All right. So when you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you can get into that nitty gritty. DraftKings does have my quick single game parlays though for the NC State North Carolina game. They're locked and loaded, Joe.
Oh, let me hear the disaster.
This is the NC State one, plus 242. State money line, over 26.5, 3.5 total touchdowns. Over 3.5 total touchdowns.
Okay.
So 26.5 over total points, 3.5 touchdowns over for 242, plus 242.
And to win or no?
To win, money line.
Interesting.
North Carolina single game. North Carolina money line. North Carolina over 30.5 points. Over 3.5 touchdowns. That's plus 134. And then my personal favorite, the crazy mixed ones. So this is plus 1,100. NC State money line, North Carolina money line first quarter over 55.5 points. I might put $5 down on that one. I don't see a lot of defense being played in this game.
That's fair. Duke is a favorite tonight in basketball, by the way. I was interested to see if that would be the case. Neutral site.
Gotcha.
What is that? What is Vegas telling you?
What is Vegas telling
Vegas
me?
is telling you that Duke is the number 1 team in the country.
No, Kansas is the number 1 team in the country.
Vegas is telling you at a neutral site that Duke is favored, so they are the number 1 team in the country.
Now, look, our friends over at DraftKings are getting into the holiday spirit, and right now you can pick up some touchdowns because they are on sale at DraftKings Sportsbook this week. They got doorbuster profit boosts and buy one, get one promotions on all types of touchdown bets. So grab some TDs with DraftKings Sportsbook. They're on sale right now from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. Again, that's Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. So Thanksgiving, like I'm going to be chilling with my in-laws. I'm going to have my DraftKings Sportsbook app, looking at the touchdowns. That's family bonding. Me and my father-in-law bonding over such things. So Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code OG24 to opt in. That is code OG24. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. One bonus bet per customer based on amount of initial touchdown bet and expires 168 hours after issuance. One single-use boost per customer that only applies to winnings. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos for additional terms and responsible gaming resources. Speaking of Thanksgiving, if it's getting late and you need to pick something up on your way to a Thanksgiving fiesta, go to the butcher's market and pick up a side. Heck, they got desserts there too. So thebutchersmarkets.com, you can find out more. Locations across the triangle. They got a couple in Wilmington as well, and they've got your Thanksgiving needs taken care of. Just like you still have enough time to go to Two Roosters. Speaking of desserts, what's better? You're asked, what are you bringing? What are you bringing in for the meal? I got you. Ice cream from Two Roosters.
The chocolate chess pie is delicious.
So go to tworoosters.com to find out their rotating flavors. And of course, you can pick up the pints and all that fun stuff and bring it to your holiday jam. tworoosters.com. And of course, our friends at Hometown Realty. You might come out of your Thanksgiving hosting duties and think to yourself, man, we have outgrown this house. Not a problem. Go to Hometown Realty, myhtr.com, and you can find out about getting some new construction that's out there. All right, Joe, let's go to the sports phone to set up the next time.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
This came to us from a 704 number.
Hey, my name is Sean. I keep on seeing you on my Instagram, and I just see you talking about them UNC boys and them NC State boys. But you know who you need to be talking about? You need to talk about the ECU Pirates, who are 6-4. And sure, we lost to App State and those boys down in Charlotte with them coach with no sleeves. But we're going to go to North Texas this week, and we're going to wreak havoc with the purple and gold. And we're going to come back to Greenville, North Carolina, 7-4. And sure, we're probably not the best in the state, but God dang, you need to still talk about this. Yeah, thanks, bye.
I absolutely enjoy the over-the-top delivery. To make an overall point, yes, ECU has actually been in the news this week. They have the Mike Houston replacement. The call was coming from within the house, Joe.
Very Carolina Hurricanes of them.
Yeah.
Going with Blake Harrell, their defense coordinator. Their defense has been outstanding.
Yeah.
So it's a natural choice to make him the interim coach. And as our caller pointed out, the Pirates have figured some things out, including their most impressive win of the season, going down to North Texas. They're down 21-0 in this game. And I was watching it. I was in Greenville, and I'm like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
And they rallied. They came back. And it's not always a great idea to listen to the players, but they were staunchly on Harrell's side. They were campaigning for him actually to be Mike Houston's replacement. It's kind of awkward in the sense that Harrell was at Lenoir-Rhyne, he was at the Citadel, and obviously ECU with Mike Houston. And one thing I think ECU did intentionally was they did fire Mike Houston after the Army game so that he couldn't go on a run and couldn't garner any kind of support moving forward.
See, I don't know what I mean. I understand that. That point's been made. Like when you get the question, why do you fire a coach now? Why do you fire a coach in the middle of the season? What are you trying to get ahead of and those types of things? And I saw that idea was floated out. Well, if you've made the decision on Mike Houston, you don't want him going on a run. That is administrative malpractice. If you're worried that he'd go on a run, either you make the decision or you don't. You've already made the decision, so just go ahead and fire him. You're not doing anything.
The first half of the Army game was enough to say,
sure,
you need to go.
What I think
I agree with that, but I do think there is something to it, Joe, because you have to look who they played. It was Temple who fired their coach.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic who fired their coach.
Didn't they all play
Tulsa,
Army?
And Tulsa who fired their coach.
Didn't they all play Army though?
They did all play Army.
So if you play Army and you lose, you get fired. It's as simple as that. Sometimes I think you have to figure out if the players need a different message.
Agree.
And I think that's ultimately why the message
they
from
switch quarterbacks too.
Mike Houston's message was no longer resonating, or it never resonated. And it was time to see if another message would get through. And it looks like it has gone through, right? I don't think it was some sort of worry about, because we do this in the NFL all the time, right? You see the coach who gets fired early in the season. Well, if you were already on that short of a leash, then why didn't you just make the decision? What I think Bomani makes this joke all the time on his podcast when he brings up, I forgot which AD it was. Like why prolong
Jeremy Foley, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did he say? It was like,
you can't put off what you owe today,
right?
Because you'll just owe more tomorrow.
Exactly, something to that effect. Some weird, saying that you probably put in bridal font on some shiplap and then put it on in your Airbnb, right? So that's my point. So why put it off? Just go ahead and do it at this point. And clearly the change has paid off, and good for Blake, man. That's hopefully ECU can get out of whatever doldrums they're in. Big thanks to Sam Jones for sponsoring the lightning round. As I mentioned, there's all sorts of ways that you can get around cooking for Thanksgiving, or if you have to bring something, you've been tasked with bringing something. May I just suggest you go online, order a bunch of sides from Sam Jones and bring it. You will be the hit of Thanksgiving. Or if you got people coming into town and you're looking to mix it up over the weekend, take somebody out, see downtown Raleigh, that kind of thing, head on over to Sam Jones. Great spot, great barbecue, a true North Carolina experience. Again, big thanks to Sam Jones for being a corporate champion and sponsoring the lightning round. Let's get to the Carolina Panthers, where we come to find out that Bryce Young gave an emotional speech that nobody wants to talk about.
Oh,
after the Kansas City loss. This is from the Charlotte Observer. Alex Zietlow wrote this. He got a quote from Adam Thielen. Quote, "We had a little bit of an emotional talk after the game, which just shows you what kind of character he is and what he means to this organization and team. He just had a little message toward the end. I'll keep that between us, but it's just a message of our confidence of who we can be. We love that guy, and we appreciate his mindset this year." All right.
Look at somebody sticking up.
Chuba
the
Hubbard.
franchise QB.
Chuba Hubbard, quote, "I'm going to keep what was said in-house, but he definitely said the right things." Let's see. What did he take away from it? Quote, "We're a great football team. We're not quite where we want to be there yet, but we shouldn't be surprised that we can do great things." Robert Hunt, offensive lineman, he said to Zietlow, quote, "He made me want to go play again right now." So this speech apparently got folks fired up. So let's go to Dave Canales. David Newton of ESPN asked him, hey, this speech that apparently got everybody riled up.
Oh, no.
Thoughts, Dave Canales?
I'm just proud of Bryce, the way he's handled, all this and the way that he's progressed on a weekly basis. And, each week there has been improvement in the things that he's doing.
Wow, that's not exactly like where David Newton was wanting to go with this. But you know what? Let's start it over again. Like, hey, coach, I mean, like these players, man, they're saying that this guy like got him fired. I mean, did you see Robert Hunt's quote? He wanted to go play again, dude. So Dave, like what did Bryce, like, what does that say?
I'm just proud of Bryce, the way he's handled, all this and the way that he's progressed on a weekly basis. And, each week there has been improvement in the things that he's doing. And so, as the quarterback, to have a moment in the locker room where you can share your heart, you can share where you're at with all of it. I think it's important that the guys continue to connect that way. And, the guys responded positively. And I think that, in general, the message is like, this is the brand of football that we can play. And on top of that, it's like, okay, now let's get back to work and see what did we miss out there. I felt like there was a lot of meat left on the bone. And so while it shows when you play a version of football where you can be competitive, especially against one of the league's, best teams right now, it's still got to be about the finish, so it was a good moment for the guys to connect, and all the guys to a man, where they had that mixed feeling of being sick, that, this was an opportunity missed, and also to know like we are continuing to improve on a weekly basis, which has been our goal.
Now, look, I know I could be an ass about these types of things, but it is interesting to watch Dave Canales be as even keel as possible when it comes to all these things. And it's fine. I don't fault him. I will say this, though, to his credit, and I do agree with him. You can get a little caught up in moral victories, and it's more important to be like, hey, man, you took him toe-to-toe. You tied it up there. You took advantage of the pass interference calls that went your way, all that kind of stuff. But that game might have been decided a little earlier if you did cash in those red zone opportunities. and didn't take -4s, put 7s on the board, right?
Yeah.
So I get where he's going with that. And if that's the attitude that the Panthers are taking, I think it gets back to what you were saying yesterday. You're starting to see what the Panthers under Dave Canales might be if it continues in this direction. And you do give a coach a lot of credit for how they come out of an open date with all that time to prepare. Do you have something? And they clearly had something. They could have, but they wanted more. And I think that's a good attitude to take. I just think it's funny that, Dave Canales continues to be like giving softballs for Bryce Young, and he will not hit him. He will not hit those things,
He won't even
man.
swing at him. Man.
Absolutely freaking not. Like they're handing him that easy club, that easy shot club that always goes 200 yards. He refused. No. Give me the 7-iron. That's what I want. And so it's just kind of funny how that all plays out. Oh man, Dave Canales. Too funny.
We've got a lot to get to. It's a lightning round.
Speaking of press conferences, looks like Malik Murphy, Duke quarterback, was disciplined internally over he threw up the double birds to the press box. People are like, what the heck happened? Well, Manny Diaz provided some context. Apparently, Murphy's double birds were directed at offensive coordinator Jonathan Brewer after he hit that big TD. Start things off. And apparently this happened in practice where they were going over drills, going over practice, going over stuff. And there was some banter back and forth. Quote, there was a practice in the middle of last week, throwing post after post after post, and we weren't completing them. And it was just a little back and forth. And at the end of it, there was a remark made in jest that, quote, if you throw a post for a touchdown in that game, then you can flick me off. This is what the offensive coordinator said. So sure enough, untouched 86-yard TD, 2 minutes in the game. Malik Murphy looks up at the press box, identifies where his offensive coordinator is, and goes, yeah, buddy. And I respect that. And Manny Diaz says it was handled internally.
Why does Duke get to have all the fun?
I know, right?
Right? We're over here, gnashing fingers and teeth at Carolina and State. Meanwhile, Duke's over here having fun.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
You know what? When people don't press that much about football, you can have fun. Simple as that.
There are many topics for lightning rounds today on OMG.
So Oklahoma, Brent Venables, he maybe kind of saved his job. I don't really know.
Oh, yeah, they did look good this week.
They look good this week. It's cool, whatever. Apparently, Venables said that he spent his Saturday night at a Taco Bell in Norman after beating Alabama. He said he and his daughter spent $94 at Taco Bell. And people were like, you could feed an entire city with $94 of Taco Bell, which tells me
you haven't been to Taco Bell recently.
You have not been to Taco Bell in a long time. You're still living in the era of 39,
Mexican
49, 79.
Bean burrito.
Me going to bean burrito. Try the Cholito. Me going to the Student Center Annex at NC State and getting
the Sally Center. Yeah,
man. Yeah, that annex.
Lil Dino's.
I don't think I don't think that area exists anymore. Remember they had an arcade down there.
Yes, they did.
So
and
anyway,
a steakhouse.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the steakhouse. Totally forgot about the steakhouse. But yeah, right. Mystery meat. Yeah, back in 1998,
yeah,
I could go to the Taco Bell, get a couple of Cholitos and a Nachos Bel Grande, power through.
It's just chili on a tortilla, right?
Chili on a tortilla with cheese. That's all it was. Called a Cholito. And yeah, you get a bean burrito too. But anyway. Anyway, yeah, you could do that for $5 back in the day. Cookout. You could get a tray with a shake for under $5. It ain't work that way anymore. So when I see $94, people are like, "Oh man, you must have eaten like a king." No, that sounds like you got a Crunch Wrap.
6 meals probably.
You probably got a couple Crunch Wrap Supremes, maybe some Cantina menu items. It is throwback time. Maybe you got the Mexican pizza, but you ain't getting a lot,
right?
Especially if you DoorDash that thing.
Hey man, everything's expensive.
Yes.
If you want to do the corrections and clarifications in real time.
Yeah, I guess we can do that. Let me go ahead and fire up the sounder here.
All mixed up, you don't know what to do. I guess we'll clarify and correct something or two. Cause you know what Joe is not the first or the last. Thing they've got wrong in the past.
I just read it recently, but Jeremy Foley is The quote is, what must be done eventually must be done immediately.
There you go.
This was when he fired Ron Zook in
That's
2003. And everyone's like, oh my God, you only gave him 3 years. Well, he turned around, hired Urban Meyer. The rest is history.
I think it worked out just fine. I think it worked out just
It's very
fine.
good yogiism, though. What must be done eventually must be done immediately.
That's a valid point. Are you ready for the Daniel Jones market?
That can't be a real thing.
I find the conversation around Daniel Jones to be interesting. Last week, there was a whole back and forth with L. Duncan of ESPN, who made like some, sarcastic jokes about Daniel Jones and needing a prepared statement and, being given the opportunity, like, you're going to waive me, release me because I want to go somewhere else. Like, there's all sorts of ways that the Giants have handled this that don't really line up with the caliber of quarterback that Daniel Jones has been in the NFL.
Right.
If that makes sense, right? And then all of a sudden, people are like clapping back at Duncan. And she's like, we're talking about Daniel freaking Jones here. Like, what's wrong with y'all? And sure enough, because of the way the quarterback market is in the NFL, Daniel Jones is being looked at as a reclamation project. We've seen this with Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
We've seen this with Sam Darnold to a certain extent this year in Minnesota. So now people are wondering, as a free agent, can he go to a contender to be a backup? Now, there are some here that make sense. Like, I'm looking at Jason La Canfora on Washington Post. He lists the Baltimore Ravens as a backup. Why?
I mean, he is a good runner. I mean, I told you, he is the droid that all the racist GMs were looking for.
Okay. San Francisco, I get that they've been with some injuries, but I mean, Brock Purdy's, I know he's got a shoulder injury, but you just going to run him with CMC? Like, I'm not quite sure there. The Lions, they're running hot right now. I'm not quite sure why you want to do that. Here's where I would say that there are two teams that do make sense. There's the Vikings, because Sam Darnold is kind of he's weeble wobbling a little bit right now.
Okay.
Defense is fantastic, but there's a little weeble wobble right now with Sam Darnold. And then there's the Miami Dolphins.
You're talking about like as a backup situation, not some sort of starter for next year.
Right. A backup for the rest of this year with a situation where you might need to go to them. Minnesota might be one. The Dolphins are the other one. The Dolphins are the only other team that would make sense with Daniel Jones, given what we know about Tua Tagovailoa and his concussion history. I know that he's trying to flip the narratives and all this other stuff, and they look pretty good right now. They got a Thanksgiving Day game against the Green Bay Packers, but we know how things can really go off the rails for the Dolphins when he's not the QB. They got their answers with the backup so far.
What if the Jets told Aaron Rodgers to take off?
Now that would be freaking.
And then they
that
brought
would be
in Daniel
freaking
Jones
hilarious
to finish out the season.
That
I
would be
see
funny.
you're tanking fellow Meadowlands tenant, and I will raise you a new tank.
Big thanks to Happy and Hale. I suggest you do Thanksgiving pregame. How do you do Thanksgiving pregame? A lot of roughage, a lot of whole foods, legumes, all those fun things, right? Get yourself right so that you can go hard on Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, maybe you don't want a pregame. That's fine. You're going to have to detox. That's when you go on the smoothie diet the following week with our friends at Happy and Hale. So not only do we take hockey breaks, but we also take tryptophan breaks.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
And of course, eating right is part of it. You also need to sweat all the turkey and gravy and chocolate chess out of your system. So what do? You head on over to O2 Fitness. Go to o2fitnessclubs.com to find a location near you, because location matters. Convenience to a gym is crucial to even going to the gym.
O2 Fitness, so much more than a gym.
And of course, great staff as well. They got great trainers. Renew Physiotherapy is helping Giglio out with his neck. And of course, when it comes to eating right, they partnered up with Happy and Hale. You can go through Loop Nutrition to find out more. So again, check out o2fitnessclubs.com. Big thanks to our guy, Matt Davis, InsureGarner.com, VOGinsurance.com. You can call him directly at 919-779-8277. With State Farm, save on home and auto, but more importantly, somebody in the area that's working to help you save money on a month-to-month basis or a semi-annual basis or however you pay for your insurance. Matt Davis is going to save you money. Much like Mosquito Authority is going to save you the headaches of those pest problems. Go to bugsbite.com. Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority can help you out. As it gets colder, you got the critters trying to come in the house. They can lock that up. They can put the pest treatments in place. And then you can start thinking about the summer with all sorts of ways that you can keep the mosquitoes at bay, right down to misting systems. A lot of cool stuff they can put on your patio. So head on over to bugsbite.com to find out more. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. We will go back to the OG Sports.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this is from a 919 number.
Last season, Steve Smith said that we were a basketball school, and Dave Doran told Steve Smith to kiss his ass. Well, I'm here to say Dave Doran can kiss my ass because we are a basketball school. Screw you, Dave. Let's go, Kevin Keats. Let's go, Wes Moore. It's looking good so far this year. Let's keep it up. To hell with you, Doran.
Seems aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Speaking of air those grievances, though. Air them out.
It is festive. That's next up.
Hey, Joe Squared. It's Tyler from Wilmington. Just thinking about Sunday, but the Panthers lost Super Bowl is back off, unfortunately. But I'm here to talk about Carolina and State this upcoming weekend on Comedy Central. ACC Network. I think what needs to happen is instead of the loser firing their coach, the winner gets to fire their coach. It's the only thing that would make this a true triangle battle. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Thanks.
You know how you got like the Simpsons game?
Okay.
Right. You've had the Nickelodeon game.
Yeah.
You've had how those alternate broadcasts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
State Carolina needs an alternate broadcast of some sort, right?
They do.
I mean, do you put in former players? Like, do you get Phillip Rivers? Do you put Torrey Holt and Dre Bly together?
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Would that be fun?
Yeah.
They're guys, they're boys, they go back and forth. That'd be entertaining, right? Do you put Gio and Tom O'Brien in the room together?
They've been in a room together since, yes.
No, I know they have. Or do you put Debbie and Tom in a room together?
They
to
have
watch
not.
the game?
They have not.
So now that's an alternate broadcast I would watch. Okay. Get Russell Wilson in there to say absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I just hope both teams have fun, like that sort of thing. But yeah, I do feel like NC State Carolina needs some sort of alternate broadcast. And that would just up the ante with everything we've seen.
To the dipshit UNC fan that feels the need to make another stupid ass comment about the divisions and how State got in their own way. That may be true, but the argument has never been that they would win it in this situation. The argument was that the divisions were uneven as a result of the top heavy teams in one division and not in the other. That is the reason why every single team in one division won that division once, and that did not happen in the other division. Even a UNC grad, which I assume you might be, I might be assuming a lot, should be able to understand that type of argument. Fuck off. Go Pack. Go to hell, Carolina.
Curse or don't, man. Whoa. I did not see the ending coming. It was data-like. We had a very calm analysis, and then
oh boy. To the YouTube comments, there's no real UNC fan that wants to lose Saturday just to see UNC move on from Mac Brown, considering the hashtag NCSU pod. I see what you did there. J Hart, USAF. Salute to your service, by the way. I'm assuming that's U.S. Air Force. So
could just be USS fuck.
It could be curse or don't, USA. It's America. You damn right we're gonna curse. Well, you know what? You don't have to worry about the Mac Brown thing.
That's right.
Because as I stated from the jump, this podcast has been chopped and screwed and put together to deal with the changing news while we record this sort of stuff. From Doug, never thought I'd hear Mac Brown and mixtape in the same sentence. Nice. From Clay, Duke got rid of Cutcliffe, and rightfully so, and look what happened. UNC needs to do the same thing. Well, looks like they are going to do that same thing. Let's see. From Sub Noise, I'll happily crow if Bryce turns out to be good enough. Yeah, I think most of us. The best case scenario for the Carolina Panthers is for Bryce Young to be good. Straight up. That's the easiest thing. But obviously, we're going to need more data when it comes to that kind of stuff. From the T-shirt that I was wearing yesterday from Corey, UNC and State shirts were way more interesting when the logos were considered public domain. Yeah, it was a different time, guys. It was a different time. From the Champs, guys, if Bryce keeps playing like this, he's not going to be a bridge QB for the next QB. He will be the franchise guy. Again, all I'm simply saying is that's the best case scenario. I'm not sure we're there yet based on what we've seen. I'm just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. And of course, from an idiot 936, no, we will not be happy with State beating UNC. Dave needs to go. Until that happens, there will be no happiness. Well, as we told you in the past, Wolfpack ain't for soft people. So hope you buckle in for that sort of thing.
And in a season of disappointment, it just wouldn't have been right if there was a happy ending. You know what I mean?
I'm totally with you on that. Totally with you on that. We'll see if North Carolina, though, can win one for the Gipper. Outgoing Mac Brown. Go do it for the old man one last time. We'll see what happens. We'll see you tomorrow for an OG mailbag. In the meantime, have a good Thanksgiving.